stage today is the president of Double Fight Productions, the one, the only, Tim Schafer. Give it up. Come on. All right, Tim.
Thank you.
Obviously, I'm excited to have you here and to check out this game.
Exciting to be here.
So we kind of know that it's about a roadie who is trying to save the people who are being oppressed by devils. Where'd you come up with this wonderful idea?
Well, I've always loved video games and heavy metal, and just looking at the album covers when you're listening to music and those crazy worlds and the visuals, the six-legged mastodons and the chrome volcanoes and the robotic eagles, and I don't know. I just thought, what a great world to make a whole game about, and just jump in there and just live that kind of heavy metal fantasy world.
Now, is this the beginning of the game that we're checking out right here?
Yeah, this is Eddie Riggs. So he's a roadie for a heavy metal band who is injured on stage, and he ends up summoning the spirit of the ancient fire beast Ormageddon, who screams so loud he rips the fabric of space and time and pulls Eddie back to a dark demonic world where brutality is the norm and humanity is enslaved by demons. And he has to use his roadie skills to save the world.
Well, I mean, it makes complete sense. Now, this is an action game. You're so well known for adventure titles, and then sort of the platform that was Psychonauts. But this really is. There's a lot of hack and slash going on, as we can see right there.
Well, because I think, first we made the world, this heavy metal world, and then we wanted to go into that world. What would you want to do if you went into that world? You wouldn't do a lot of maybe talking to people. You'd whip out your axe and start cutting off some evil druids' heads.
And axe also functions as a pawn, because I think we're going to learn this in a moment, because you also have a guitar, and that really is another offensive device in this game.
Yeah, you have two weapons. You have an axe that does what you might expect an axe to do, but also a guitar that you brought from the modern world that is amplified by this crazy heavy metal world to have these special powers. Like you can summon rock show elements like lightning, and you can summon pyrotechnics that blast your enemies up in the air. And later in the game, as the combat system gets more in depth, you learn more moves like the Earth Shaker or the Grand Slam, where you can pop up your enemies into the air and then smack them into the bleachers of infinite pain, as we say. So
I love the bleachers of infinite pain.
Yes,
that's a place I've known very well through high school.
Yeah.
So it's important to point out that the axe, the weapon axe, and the guitar
are separate.
Right, they're separate, but they do kind of work in concert with one another for combos.
You're switching back and forth between them, and they're both part of your action repertoire. And you have a third weapon, really, which is your car, the Deuce, the hot rod that you build in the game. Which
brings us to, I think, an important point. This is not a fantasy world by any kind of traditional Tolkien-esque way. It really is following more of the heavy metal fantasy.
Yeah, because I like fantasy worlds, but there's also a rigid set of rules there of like you can have certain races and certain breeds together. And the great thing about heavy metal album covers is they don't care about any of that stuff. It's just like whatever looks cool, like that.
That is a heavy metal album cover right there.
Every shot in the game is supposed to look.
Yeah, see? Yeah. Everybody loves Mountain of Skull. All right, so the soundtrack, it is about music, it includes music. What kind of music can we expect in this game?
We've had so much fun just putting together, making lists of like what are all our favorite metal songs and going after those artists, and then doing research about, we want to cover all the different genres because there's a wealth of diversity in the world of metal and rock, and so we put together just the awesome rocking soundtrack that I've ever seen in the game. It just really is a great collection of songs.
Now, also, many people are aware of this, Jack Black.
Yes.
He is the voice, as do many people from the history of heavy metal.
Yeah.
More importantly, is the writing in this game, what you have Jack Black saying. This is a very funny game. How much writing effort was on your part, and how large a team did you use to put this together?
I did the writing for the game, and then when we bring Jack in the studio, he likes to work with the script, but then also do a few varieties of each line and add his own kind of personality to it, and brings the character to a whole nother level. He's really funny. Working with him is so much fun, and he does almost 3,000 lines of dialogue in the game, so he's really committed and involved in the project. Yeah, almost. Yeah.
And then maybe let's grab him, make him do like all of the Old Republic as well. Just do every single.
Yeah, well, we have him in.
Yeah, while he's in there.
Not?
Another quick thing I wanted to touch on. This is also a game that's open world. This is not a linear progression.
Yeah, in this first intro, we kind of funnel the player through the basic mechanics. But once they learn the axe, guitar, and car, then the world opens up, and we have a streaming open world environment that you can drive your hot water rod across, and it's about 64 square kilometers of explorable space. And there's a lot of characters there. You can pick up missions. There's a primary story involving putting an army together, but there's also side missions and side quests along the way.
Can you just explain what's happening here? He has some kind of walker going down the Mountain of Skulls?
He's trying to get off the gigantic but awesome-looking corpse pile, and to do that, he has to activate this altar of evil by saying an incredibly evil prayer. And Jack does some funny improv evil prayer dialogue right here.
Yeah, it really, the art direction, while inspired by heavy metal, I think it's very, very Tim Schafer. What was the direction of your interpretation of heavy metal visual standards?
Well, a lot of the artists that inspired it, great artists like Frank Frazetta. I don't know if you've seen his covers.
Yes.
The idea of having everything look painterly and epic. I mean, if you look at the sky, the sky always looks like this insane epic sky at all times, and our game has a day-night cycle, so every time the sun comes up it's a different kind of weather, it's a different kind of sky, so it's really about being in this world and believing that it's real. Well, there's this guy right there, and there's Ophelia.
Oh, there's Ophelia. She's actually one of the companions that you're going to have throughout the game.
She's one of your companions. She's pretty good with her sword. And her and Eddie team up, and here's the double team move they can do together. Every friendly character in the game has what we call a double team move, which means you can go up to them, press the Y button, and you'll, shall I say, conjoin with them in some interesting way. In the case of Ophelia, you can pick her up and throw her spinning in like an attack. Other characters you can carry like a caber toss, this guy with the bouncer with his giant fist, you can drop him like a bomb on your enemies. And if there's a character who drives a car, you get to jump on the car and drive that around. So every friendly character is like a different, like a toy or a weapon that you can play with, and it's like having a whole bunch of like 11 more different attacks.
I gotta say, I think the word that I like to use right now when describing to people Brutal Legend is, this is easily the most exuberant game I've seen this year and probably many years past. Tim, we know it's coming out in October. What's the date? October 13th. Tim Schafer. I wish he could stay longer. Give it up for Tim Schafer and Brutal Legend. Thank you.
Thank you.